Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So good to see you again today. It's been a while. How's it going? Jocelyn, Jordan, and Kenzo, you guys look sleepy. Kok ngantuk ini? Did you guys sleep well last night? No? Vanessa, how are you doing?
Kenapa, Sir?
How are you doing?
Oh, ini headsetnya kebelit.
Jordan, how's it going? Kenzo, how are you guys doing? Both of you? Good? Kenzo, Joanne, Yvonne? Joanne cannot talk. Stephanie and Stephanie, why don't you turn on the camera, please? We're about to start this. Okay, there we go. Wow. Bokeh ya, kameranya Stephanie. Bokeh. Stephanie Oktarina, what's going on with your camera? Sebentar, sir. Okay. Nah, okay, let's do this. Today, we will be still talking about story. Yeah, so please take your book and open on page 56. No, kan kalian sudah. Yes. Yang sudah submit ya, yang kalau sudah ya, yang tinggal di rumah. Okay, so let me repeat. We'll be talking about story again today. Yeah, another type of story. So it's going to be from your book on page 56, not mistaken, writing a story. Okay. Okay, so please get your book and then open the page. Well, I will be sharing my screen. Nah. So, okay, so this is actually another type of story, yeah. So the one that we did before is recount text, gitu ya. So today we're going to be doing another one. Can you guys see my screen? Bisa lihat layarnya sekarang? Hello.
Cancer.
Nah, gitu dong. Cancer. Cancer itu penyakit ya. So, what about you guys? Do you bring your book? Diva? Nah, so in the previous meeting we talked about recount. Yeah, it's one of the types of the story. So today we're going to be talking about another type. So that's why the title is writing this text. So I actually presented this topic to the Olympiad students, yeah, because we also learn about storytelling. And this will be one of the texts that is used in storytelling. Yeah, and here we go. Still the same thing that we have to remember that each text in English has different structure, yeah, has different body and has different content seperti itu. And then previously we talked about recount. Do you guys still remember the structure of recount text? Ada yang masih ingat? Nah, Diva, do you still remember about the structure? Diva, it's yours, right? Please remember about the structure. If you want to write a recount text, what's in the body actually? We have three, right? Orientation, and then event, and then reorientation. Yes, that's it. Yeah. So we have that three body to build a recount text. And don't forget, we also have some language features. Yeah, some language features that we need to use. Students at home, do you still remember the language features for recount text? Anyone say something? The language features. What kind of tense do we use to write a recount text?
Past tense, sir.
Past tense, yes. And then what kind of verb do we use to recount text?
Verb to.
Of course, since it is past, I mean another kind of verb. Action verb or what? I actually said it just now. Yes, we use action verb. Yeah. So talking about the structure of recount, we have orientation, events, and reorientation. And then talking about the language features, we use past tense, and then we mostly use the action verb. Now, so today let's move to another one. Yeah. So there are some mostly written genre for storytelling. Yeah, let's say for a story because the focus of our book is story. Now, so look at this. Now, these are some most famous kind of texts talking about story. So we did number 2, recount. So today we're going to be talking about narrative. Yeah, it's one of the most famous one. Paling sering dipakai untuk bercerita seperti itu ya. Like when you were a baby, maybe your father and your mom told the story when you were sleeping. That's what we call as a narrative. Mungkin tentang animals or even about kingdoms in heaven or everything. Yeah, it can be about imagination. It can be about something real. Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about narrative. What's going on with this? Nah. So here we go. As I said before, different text has different bodies. Different text has its own generic structure. So quite different from written text. Narrative, yeah, have 4 generic structures. But first, let's talk about the purpose. People write a narrative text, yeah, to amuse or to entertain the readers. Tujuan dari sebuah cerita seperti dongeng itu hanya untuk hiburan, ya nak ya. It's not something that we need to believe. It's just for amusing something. Nah. So to write a good narrative text or to write a good story of narrative, we can use this body or this part. Yeah, the first one is orientation. Just like in the recount text. Yeah, in the orientation of the narrative text, we also put the sets of the story. Remember, the sets encompasses time, places, and what? Masih ingat? Di dalam orientasi itu kan ada setting ya, setting of place, setting of time, and then apalagi selain setting? Setting itu latar ya, latar tempat, latar waktu gitu ya. What else besides setting? Guys from home, what do you think?
Characters.
Characters, yes, or participants, yeah, the participating actors in the story, yes. So we usually introduce the set of time, the set of place, and the characters in the orientation. That's why kalau kalian pernah dengar dongeng Once Upon a Time there was a princess. A princess actually the character or the participant of the story, yeah. And then it's a bit different from recount. Yeah, from recount we usually put our experience, the story of our experience, or maybe problems that we face during doing something. But in the general structure of narrative text, we have this complication. Complication is actually problems that happen to the character of the story. Gitu ya. Contohnya seperti ini. Have you heard about the Cinderella? Yeah, we have that kind of complication. What is that? When the clock is ticking, showing 5 o'clock, ya kan? Itu masalahnya di situ. And then let's say she ran away and then left shoes, not mistaken, left atau kanan seperti lah. Yang pasti salah satunya tinggal gitu ya. So that's actually the complication. Yeah. And then after the complication in the narrative, there must be a solution. The solution itself we put in the resolution. Jadi resolusi itu adalah the solution toward the problems on the complication. Yeah. So in Cinderella, what was the solution? The prince found the Cinderella, yeah, after like matching the food of everyone, every girl in town. Kan gitu ya. Itu adalah solusinya. So that's it. We put the solution after the complication. Now, something interesting in narrative is the reorientation. This part is actually optional. Boleh dibikin, boleh enggak. So if we want to write the reorientation, what can we put here? Some people may put the summary or the conclusion of the story, but some people tend to put some tendency or what we call as moral message. Yeah, usually if you talk about narrative story or imaginative story, there must be some sort of moral message. Ada pesan moral. For example, Kancil dan Buaya, pesan moralnya apa? Mungkin jadi anak jangan, that's it. Yeah, so you can put those kind of things in reorientation, but remember it's optional. Yeah, if you want to write it, it's okay. If you think you cannot provide it, yeah, that's cool. Now look at this one. The dominant language features in narrative text. So it's actually look like recon text. If you pay attention, the number one, in narrative we use past tense to describe the story. Yeah. And then also we use action verbs. And the number three, chronologically arranged. Yeah, what does it mean? Chronological arrangement. We have to arrange the story, yeah, based on the timeline. Jadi jangan melompat-lompat gitu ya. Berurutan. So the phenomenon, the problems that we are trying to describe should be chronologically arranged. That's why we mostly use this kind of conjunction. Misalnya apa conjunction is? Then, after that, gitu ya. Or 3 days later, kira-kira seperti itu. Jadi ada words that signal the sequence of the story, gitu ya. Okay, sampai di sini. Have you got questions about the narrative? This is actually the most important part of the text. Hanya ini yang perlu kalian lihat dan ingat seperti itu ya. Karena ya dengan ini ya tidak bisa pasti menulis. All you need to remember is this one, the generic, and then the language feature. There will be no people telling story about Cinderella by using present continuous. There will be no people telling the Cinderella story by using present simple. No. Yeah, there must be. They must use the past tense. Students from home, have you got questions about this? No? You sure? Keisha, Dennis, Kelly? Oh. Have you got questions? Keisha, and Keisha is here. So, any questions? What about you guys? No? Really?
No, sir.
Sure? Okay, good.
Can I ask?
Sorry?
Can I ask?
Sure. Please.
Is it only action verbs, sir? Can we not use like mental verbs?
We can, but actually, because we are describing things like complication, how to say that, problems that arise about, how to say, look at this, mental verbs, ya. Tadi Jordan mengatakan mental verbs. Mental verbs is just like think to mental verbs, ya. Something that doesn't include any movement. Kira-kira seperti itu sesimpelnya. Yes, we can actually, but we use mostly the action verb. Misalnya seperti ini, Cinderella berlari, nggak pernah ada ceritanya. Dia berpikir. Yes, we could, but actually it's rarely used, gitu ya. That's why. Makanya di sini, this title is actually dominant, ya, dominan. Jadi kata kerja yang dipakai secara dominan means mostly itu adalah action verbs, gitu ya. So it's good to use the mental verbs if you need to, but action verb must go like many more than the mental verbs. Okay, now talking about narrative text. Look at that. There are kinds of narrative text. Even in Indonesia, we also know some. Yeah. The first one is fable. Do you guys know fable? What's that? Fable? Can anybody say something? Fable, fable. Fable is actually a story about animals. So in this kind of story, the animal has dialogue. So contohnya si kancil itu. So that's a fable. Yeah. And then we have myth. Yeah, myth or mythos. Yeah. We also have legend. Yeah. Now look at that. In bahasa Indonesia, we usually call myth, legend, and folklore or folktale as the same. Jadi cerita rakyat semuanya. Nah, and then we also have this fairy tales atau dongeng. And then you can also talk about love story. Yeah, love story itu si Cinderella tadi. Although it is imaginative, but it's still a love story, kan gitu ya. And then we can also talk about personal experience or slice of life. Yeah. And then there is also the horror story or the science fiction. But actually, the mostly used narrative is fable, biasanya, and then folklore, folktale, cerita-cerita rakyat. Do you guys know an example of folktale? Misalnya, the origin of Danau Toba. Yeah, that's a folktale. It's also a narrative. So legenda or legend or our stories or myth, itu misalnya, I don't know the name of the ghost. Yang kuyang, you guys know kuyang, something like that. Like a lady flying, nobody but jantungnya bergerak turun. That's actually a myth. Itulah contohnya. Okay, so it's been done, and then it's been done. Now look at this. So I'm going to show you an example. Yeah, Snow White. Yeah, Snow White is actually narrative. Yeah, it's an imaginative story. Like this. I'm going to show you the genetic structure based on the text provided. Look at that. The orientation. Once upon a time, there lived a little named Snow White. Once upon a time is actually, apa ini namanya nak? Once upon a time. It's the set, yeah? The set of time, of course. Named Snow White. What is that, Snow White? That's the character. Yeah. And then she lived with her aunt and uncle. Aunt and uncle are also characters. So the story consists of more than one character. And then an uncle because her parents were died. Okay, that's the introduction. And then we go to the complication now. In the complication, you cannot directly tell the problems. There will be like the book say, or let's say, just like this one said, there will be like orders. Ya, ada urutan yang nggak tiba-tiba langsung terjadi masalah kan. That's why we have to write it sequentially atau chronologically. Look at this one. One day, she heard her aunt and uncle talking about leaving Snow White in the castle because they wanted to go to America and they didn't have enough money to take Snow White with them. So it's actually how the story goes, the problems gitu ya. Jadi suatu hari pamannya mau pergi gitu. And then the problems come. Snow White didn't want her uncle and aunt to do this. Snow White doesn't want to be left. So she decided to run away. The next morning, she ran away from home when her aunt and uncle were having breakfast. She ran away into the woods. So it's also the problem. Ya, jadi dia tadi dari tidak terima, and then bergerak lagi dia melarikan diri karena tidak terima. And then another complication part in the woods, she felt very tired and hungry. So ini another problem. And then she saw this cottage, she knocked out, but no one answered. So she went inside and fell asleep. Yeah, so that's the complication. Now there comes the resolution. The resolution talks about di mana akhirnya si Snow White ini. Yeah, look at that. Meanwhile, 7 dwarfs. Do you guys know dwarfs? Tahu dwarf juga apa? The little man, kurcaci. Yeah. Meanwhile, 7 dwarfs were coming home from work. So the place that actually the Snow White slept in is actually the place of the dwarfs, gitu kan? Rumahnya si kurcaci ini. They went inside. There, they found Snow White woke up. Yeah. And then she saw the dwarfs. The dwarf said, "What is your name?" So Snow White said, "My name is Snow White." Yeah. One of the dwarfs said, "If you wish, you may live here with us." So this is actually the resolution. Yeah. Dia tadi yang melarikan diri, and then she has got no place, and then the dwarfs over the place for her. Itulah resolution. Gitu ya. Snow White told the whole story about her. Then Snow White and the 7 dwarfs lived happily ever after. Now look at that one. Let's analyze the language features. Yeah. Once upon a time there lived. Verb 2. That's a past. Yeah. And then named. Okay. She lived. This is also the past tense because her parents were died. Gitu ya. And then one day she heard. I'm not talking about leaving Snow White because they wanted to go and they didn't have enough money to take Snow White with them. All of them are written in the past. Yeah? And then look at this one, didn't want her uncle and aunt to do this. So she decided, past lagi, the next morning, this is actually mistype. Harusnya ini ran. Yeah, the verb 2. Run, ran, run. Yeah. So she ran away from home when her aunt and uncle were having ini masih pas juga. She ran away to the wood. She felt very tired. She saw, she knocked. Semua verb 2 ya. No one answered. So she went inside and slept. Awesome. And then look at this one. The 7 dwarfs were coming. Were coming is actually past continuous, so it's related to past. And then went inside like that. And then they found, woke up, saw, said, and so on. Okay. So it proves that this kind of text is using past tense. Okay. So far, any questions? We still have like 10 minutes before we end this session. Again. Oh yeah? Oh no. It's like 15 more minutes. No, that's it. Have you got questions? Are you dari kelas? Are you sure? Because I'm going to ask you to write a story. Yeah. Dari dulu now. Okay? Just like how we did it previously. What about students from home? Have you got questions? No? Okay. So this time, yeah, I want you to write a story, but not from the Google. Yeah, I need you to create your own original one. Okay. It doesn't need to be long. Nggak mesti banyak banget kalimatnya, ya. But I need you to do something original for this time. Gitu. So, Adifa will return your book. Adifa ya, Christian. So you can write for everything. Yeah. Something that you remember that will be okay. Yeah. You can, Google Translate will be okay, but if you want to ask me directly about the word, that will be okay too. Yeah. So students, now I need you, okay, just like how we did it previously, I need you to write a narrative story. Okay. It can be about anything, but make sure it's an original one. Gitu ya. Karang-karang aja, nggak apa-apa. I'm not going to see the content. Sir nggak nilai ceritanya masuk akal atau tidak. I just need to make sure that you use the generic structure and the language feature. Itu aja. Okay? Ceritanya it can be about everything. For you guys, I'll be making something on Google Classroom so you can just snapshot your work and then submit it into the Google Classroom. And this will be until 12. Ini sampai jam 12 untuk mereka yang di rumah ya. Untuk kalian juga gitu ya. Ngarang? Ya boleh. Ngarang aja, memang ngarang. Oke, misalnya kancil dan buaya, ular dan kelabang, it's up to you. Ya. Try to write an original one. Ya. It's okay, it doesn't have to be long. Nggak mesti panjang banget. Yes, show me the orientation. Nggak apa-apa. Nanti digaris aja nggak apa-apa. Ngarang aja, yes. Don't take it too seriously ya. Kan nggak murid susah. Nggak mesti 700 kata juga kan. Yang penting you show the orientation, you show the complication, and then you show the resolution or reorientation. That's it. Kela aja dia lihat handphone. I know. It's from your class. I know you're looking at the phone, but it's okay. Yang penting try to do it as good as possible. Yeah. Google Translate is good. Come on, Catherine, you can do it. Sorry? Life. Life is L-I-F-E. Life, yes. F, F. No, it's not victory, F. Fanboy, fanboy. It can be what something that you can imagine. You can. ngatur stres banget. Makanya biasakan dijalankan ya. Is HIS, it's from he. Sorry? Him juga he. Kalau she itu she, her. Sorry? Life is noun. Kalau verb ini itu live. Live. I'll be with you until 12, yeah?